The private limited company is the most popular type of entity to be registered in Singapore. In this video, you will find out about what is required to incorporate a private limited company in Singapore. There are 5 basic statutory requirements to incorporate a Singapore private limited company. They are a shareholder, a resident director, a company secretary, minimum paid-up capital, and a local registered office address. Let's look into each of these requirements in detail. The Companies Act requires all Singapore private limited companies to have at least one resident director. This role may be fulfilled by employment pass or entrepass holders, permanent residents, or Singapore citizens. If you do not have a resident director, we can provide you with one via our nominee director service. Secondly, you are required to appoint a company secretary within 6 months of incorporating your Singapore company. Your company secretary must be ordinarily resident and must possess basic or sound knowledge of the Singapore Companies Act. We can provide your firm with the services of a company secretary. The third requirement for Singapore company incorporation is a local registered office address. The registered office cannot be a P.O. Box address and must be a physical office in Singapore that is open to the public for at least 3 hours during business days. We can provide you with an esteemed registered address, which includes virtual office and hot desk services. Additionally, you are required to inject paid-up capital to incorporate your Singapore company. Although there is no authorized capital in Singapore, the minimum paid-up capital for company setup is 1 Singapore dollar. Paid capital can be in cash or in non-cash forms. However, non-cash capital must be assets that can be appraised. Last but not least, the Companies Act requires all Singapore private limited companies to have at least one shareholder. This requirement can be fulfilled either by corporate entities or individuals of any nationality. Additional shareholders may include a combination of both. Many firms choose to set up a private limited company due to the tax incentives it offers. A private limited company is treated as a Singapore company. It is eligible for resident company tax incentives. For example, a private limited firm which has an individual shareholder with at least 10% of the shares is entitled to the corporate tax incentives for newly set up companies. This means the first $100,000 of chargeable income for the first 3 years will not be taxed. In addition, the next $200,000 of chargeable income will enjoy 50% tax exemption. Now, let's explore your incorporation options. Your options depend on whether you have plans to relocate to Singapore to run your company's operations. If you wish to relocate to Singapore, your option is to do so via the employment pass. However, if you prefer to run your business from overseas, you will require a nominee director. Let us look into each of these options in greater detail. The Singapore Employment Pass is a work visa specially for skilled people with acceptable educational or professional qualifications. So what is the process if you choose this option? Foreign companies are not allowed to self-register a Singapore company. Therefore, you may engage us to incorporate your company as well as to apply for your employment pass. Until you secure your employment pass, use our local resident nominee director service. Once you have obtained your employment pass, we will transfer the directorship back to you, and you can act as the resident director. At this point, you may relocate to Singapore and run your business. Please note that administrative processes can occur without your presence in Singapore. The second option is easier. If you do not wish to relocate to Singapore to run your business, you would not require a work visa for yourself. However, you still need to fulfill the requirement of a Singapore resident director in order to register your Singapore company. In this case, engage us for our nominee director service. We hope that you have a better understanding of what's required to incorporate a Singapore private limited company. Visit our website today to find out what documents are required to incorporate your company. Alternatively, contact us today for a free consultation. We look forward to being of service to you.